very quickly, I'll just move on to my next question. And, as far as Soko, as far as Glovo is concerned, I do know that, there have been challenges that are very unique to the different markets you're operating in. Are there some of these challenges that you could highlight? Maybe Josh, you could highlight, especially, yours is very interesting because it's manufacturing that's done in Africa and then sold outside, in other markets. Are there unique challenges as far as your operations are concerned? Here, and same to you, Priscilla. So in that order, if you could kindly, just look to expounding more on that.
I'll let Priscilla go first.
Okay. So just to clarify, you want to know what are the unique challenges about Kenya versus Cote d'Ivoire versus different markets, or is that what you're asking?
Yeah, just the unique challenges of your operation.
As you know, Kenya is a cash market, and we still have a lot of orders being paid on delivery. And the biggest challenge is now what I was talking about before, where people end up not paying on delivery. And unfortunately, this is something we have to keep because we have markets where they only do credit cards only. And just to give you an example, in Spain, there are some cities where we also have cash. And the minute we introduced cash, actually, the number of orders spiked. So that tells you there's still a market, even in the developed markets, that they still don't trust the platform. They want to pay cash on delivery. So and then also cash being one of our core payment methods, it also comes with complications because how the platform works is that we give the riders money to go and shop on behalf of the customer, and then when they deliver to the customer gives them cash. So there's this whole cash movement that we have to find a way to balance. So you have to find the right mix in terms of having some partners accept cash at the till, so that when the rider collects money from customer A, in their next order, they go and pay cash to the next partner. So coming up with those mechanisms to make sure we don't have a lot of cash with the riders is also a challenge. It's taken us a while. At the beginning, we lost a lot of money for sure. But now we are slowly figuring it out through tech and all that stuff. And the other challenge is, although it's not as bad now, is the addressing system in Kenya. As you know, the rider, as much as you put the address on Google Maps, you still have to call the rider. The rider will call you, and you have to tell them, that bump. When you pass the bump next to the tree, take the first right, like that, So there's that constant communication between the customer and the rider, and it stopped being convenient. We want an instant where you place an order and it immediately comes to you without having contact with the rider. So we still have those challenges when it comes to the addressing system. And then, and I think you know about this, the digital tax being implemented. So that increases our costs as a company. So that cost has to be passed back to someone, if not us guys absorbing. So that's something else we are trying to figure out as Glovo. So yeah, the regulation also is a bit unstable. So we don't know what's next tax they're going to come up with, and it can be a challenge as well.
Josh, I don't know about you.
Yeah, so look, I think operationally, it's manufacturing is very difficult, especially when you're manufacturing to export. On the one hand, our model of operating is based off of, it's based off of orders. So we have a merchandising team that is able to look at the different channels that we are able to make our sales through. Wholesale was primarily a very huge part of what we did, which is, we sell to all these big stores, department stores, and high-end stores, and then they distribute either through their own online channels or through their stores. And then we would get reports, so you can understand through your match team what's selling well, and we can know what's hot, so we can actually then use both our e-com stats and what we're seeing from other channels to pre-order. But most of the time, when you're doing wholesale, it's about the client actually looking at your portfolio of what you have and then making an order, and then we translate those orders to the ground where they're produced. And I think the big challenge has been to reduce the time to market from the time of the order to when the client gets it. I think we now are under 5 weeks, so that's pretty good. But I feel that last year was very interesting because COVID basically shut down a big part of like department stores, and of course we saw a surge on the other side. So our e-commerce spiked, and so when that happens, then it's a very different ballgame because your margins become part of the things that you have to think about very differently. You have to start thinking, maybe if I used to have a ROAS discussion in terms of our e-com, when it begins to become a significant part of your revenue drivers, you have to rethink that message, because what does that become? So those are the things that now we began to think through operationally, because it changes the game on everything. But I think on the ground this side, it's just there's a lot of logistics that we've been able to get through by building a technology sort of like I would say platform that our artisans who build use. So we don't have to have a lot of, in fact, because of a lot of our artisans are based in like Kibera or Dandora or some of these areas, we were already reducing the incident of how much we talk to them in person. But now with COVID, we actually had to accelerate that so that like your need to actually physically meet is actually really reduced. They can see their orders via an app. They get paid via the same app. They can look at everything via the app. And I think that's some of the things that you have to sort of do. Yeah.